The following episode was originally recorded for a private podcast as part of the Equipped for Life course. It has been edited for public release, but may reference training material from the Equipped for Life course. You know, I have to admit, when you've been in this movement for over a decade, you get to a point where you feel like you've heard it all. You kind of have a lay of the land. You know all of the things that are going on, at least to some extent. But that's what makes the times when you're surprised or you hear something new extra exciting. And the first time I spoke at a Students for Life Leadership Summit in LA a couple of years ago, I heard something from a speaker that I just had never heard before. And she was a speaker from abortion pill reversal. I had never heard that it was possible to reverse the effects of RU46 before. And as soon as I heard her and heard the testimonies of doctors that are working with her, it became clear to me that this is one of those things that every pro-life advocate should know about. In some ways, it might not be the most interesting thing that pro-life people talk about, but it's kind of one of those things that everybody should know about. It's kind of like perinatal hospices. If you don't know, there's this new movement of hospices that will work with parents whose child is going to be born and will not live very long after birth. And a long time ago, there just wasn't much for these families. But I know some pro-life people who said we need to make this experience easier for the parents who are going through this tragic experience. So they've been training nurses all over the country in different hospitals to be more helpful to these parents and set up hospice care for this unique and obviously tragic situation. Like that's not the most interesting thing I've ever talked about, but it's kind of one of those things that everybody should know about because you might have a friend that goes through that. So I see this as kind of in the same category. Everybody should know a little bit about abortion pill reversal because it is not that unlikely that one of your friends or someone that you know may end up having a chemical abortion and also end up regretting it and wanting to reverse the effects after the first pill. Okay, so I'm here with Sara Littlefield, who is the Executive Director of Abortion Pill Reversal. Sara Littlefield began volunteering with Culture of Life Family Services and continued her education, earning her bachelor degree in social work from Franciscan University in 2012. In 2014, Sara returned to San Diego and soon after became the event and volunteer coordinator at COLFS. She joined the Abortion Pill Reversal team as their coordinator in December of 2014, and then in August of 2015, she became the Executive Director of the APR program. Sara, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Okay, I'm just going to get right in. I've got a bunch of questions for you. I want to make sure everybody understands about what you guys do and what you guys talk about. So my understanding, although I haven't dug into Guttmacher's statistics very recently, is that RU46 is an abortion procedure that's being chosen more and more often, while surgical abortions are slowly going down. So I'm curious, is that true? And if so, do you have any theories for why that is?
You are correct in saying that the numbers of medical abortions are certainly increasing, and I haven't also as well. I haven't done much research into the exact reason why, but I suspect that it might have something to do with the fact that the medical abortion is less invasive than a surgical abortion. It's less dependent upon the clinic, and also doctors and nurse practitioners prescribing the abortion pill are able to do so without a surgical specialty, which they would need in order to perform a surgical abortion.
Got it.
And I also suspect that there may be a link to that connotation that a medical abortion or taking the abortion pill, it's simpler and it's easier than a surgical abortion. It can actually be completed in what they would call the privacy of your own home or the comfort of your own home. Mm-hmm. However, we know that the medical abortions can also come with the same emotional consequences as a surgical abortion. And that's why we have our hotline. We've had women call our hotline within the hour of their taking the abortion pill, regretting their decision and changing their mind.
Wow. Can you go ahead and just let's kind of start with the beginning here. Can you tell our listeners exactly how RU486 works?
Yeah, sure. So RU486, or the abortion pill, is a two-pill process. Mifepristone is the first pill, and it is prescribed by the medical provider in the abortion clinic within the first 7 to 10 weeks of pregnancy. And it was actually just extended up to the 10th week of pregnancy just recently. And so a woman will take mifepristone in the abortion clinic. Mifepristone is a drug that blocks the effects of progesterone. Progesterone is a natural pregnancy hormone needed to provide nutrients to grow a healthy baby. So a woman will take mifepristone first and then is prescribed misoprostol, which is the second abortion pill to be taken orally, or it can actually be inserted vaginally, and that is to be taken 24 to 48 hours after taking mifepristone, the first abortion pill. And misoprostol is going to cause contractions and expel the remains of the baby, and this process can take a few hours or last as long as a few days. The woman will then need to be examined by the doctor at the clinic within 2 weeks to ensure the abortion was complete and to check for complications.
Got it. Real quick, I want to ask a clarification question because the abortion procedure timeline can get very, very fuzzy. When you said that RE486 can be given as late now as 10 weeks into pregnancy, are you meaning LMP, last menstrual period, or like fertilization age?
Fertilization. So they're going to be doing an ultrasound first to find out how far along she is.
Got it. Thanks. So I imagine our listeners are as skeptical as I was when I first heard that RE486 could be reversed. Can you explain how this works and why it's possible?
Absolutely. So abortion pill reversal, by using it, we're using bioidentical progesterone to counteract the effects of mifepristone. The progesterone reversal protocol, it can be started as long as there is a viable intrauterine pregnancy, but we've seen the best success rates within 24 to 48 hours of mifepristone ingestion. So basically, if she's taken the abortion pill and contacts our hotline, begins the progesterone treatment within 24 to 48 hours, we see the higher rates of success. And the progesterone reversal protocol, it continues through the woman's first trimester of pregnancy. So again, with mifepristone blocking progesterone receptors, we're using progesterone to try to counteract the first pill that she's taken, essentially.
Okay, so I think you've partially answered my next question, which was going to be about what is the window of time. So you said it's most likely, like it's going to be most effective or most likely to have a successful reversal in the 24 to 48 hour window. What is, like, how long is the actual window? Like what is the latest that you've seen this work?
You know, I think our latest case, I really don't want to be quoted here, but I think our latest case has been up to 72 hours. But again, that likelihood is very, very low.
Yeah.
Or it becomes lower the longer the woman waits to call the hotline and to get to a medical provider to provide her with progesterone. So the quicker she can get to the doctor to receive progesterone, the better.
This is part of why we would want like every pro-life person or every person to know that this is at least possible, so that if a mother wanted a reversal, then she would be able to get in within the quicker time window.
Yes.
Okay, so walk us through this process. The mother would call your hotline, and then what happens? Who would she talk to?
So the APR hotline is staffed by medical professionals, including registered nurses, advanced practice nurses, and we have some physician's assistants, and it's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. A woman can call any time of day or night.
That's great.
And calls are answered within 90 seconds. A caller is assessed by the hotline nurse or medical professional that answers and provided access to one of our partnering healthcare providers from the APR network. We have over 350 medical providers across the country who are providing women with progesterone to try to attempt mifepristone reversal. And the APR medical staff refers patients to the providers for medical advice, but can also answer questions according to guidelines approved by our medical director, Dr. George Delgado. So the first call that she makes, she's going to be answered by a nurse who can answer her immediate questions, direct her to the closest doctor, and try to help her get that progesterone as quickly as possible.
Got it. Well, I guess you've already answered the next question. Basically, the on-call nurse is going to try to refer the mother to someone that's kind of in your network of people that are already trained how to do this, and that's going to be kind of mainly the next step.
Right. So the hotline nurse is going to encourage the woman to see our nearest abortion pill reversal medical provider as soon as possible. And again, our callers are assessed to provide access to one of those partners.
Got it. Are you able to say like how big your network is? Do you have people in every state or every region of every state? I assume it's still a growing thing.
Yeah, we're still growing. We have over 350 medical providers across the country. We also have some providers in other countries as well, Mexico, Canada, England, still growing that network internationally. We have a pretty close network with Australia right now. So again, growing, but we are still always in need of more medical providers who are interested in joining our network to provide women with that progesterone.
See, that's actually something I hadn't even thought about, but like I know for a fact there is at least one pro-life doctor, one MD who is taking our course. And so what would you tell, are there certain kinds of doctors that you need? Like, would it need to be an OBGYN? Like, what is it you need from pro-life medical professionals?
Great question. So our medical providers are able to prescribe progesterone. So that's what we need. So we have MDs, nurse practitioners, physician assistants, DOs. As long as they're able to prescribe that progesterone, that's what we're looking for to expand our network. And we also work very closely with pregnancy medical clinics, and these are basically pregnancy resource centers that provide medical services under the standing orders of a medical director. So we've also been able to work very closely with these kind of PRCs as well.
All right, Chris in Texas, you know who you are. You need to get a hold of Sara. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to get like too far into the weeds, but can you just explain a little bit more about progesterone and why it is used, why it can have this effect on reversing RU486?
Sure. So progesterone it's a natural hormone in a woman's body that is necessary to nurture and to sustain a pregnancy. And again, mifepristone blocks the progesterone's actions by binding to progesterone receptors. And giving extra progesterone, we hope to outnumber and outcompete the mifepristone in order to reverse the effects of that mifepristone. And the use of progesterone to counteract mifepristone, a synthetic anti-progesterone steroid, is a logical extension of decades of therapies for pregnancy loss caused by progesterone deficiency. And research studies have shown that use of progesterone reverses the effects of mifepristone blockage, and progesterone has been used safely for decades in pregnant women.
Okay, so this has all been sort of clinical. I want to bring this down to the real world. You have a promotional video on your website that includes a testimony from one of the mothers who has successfully reversed the effects of RU486 thanks to your team. So I'd like to play a short clip of her telling her story.
Taking the abortion pill, it just felt wrong. I should have never done it. I regret every single moment after that. So me and my boyfriend were actually talking about what we could do to possibly reverse it. We called family planning to see if they could help us, but basically she just answered the phone. She was just cold-hearted and said, "Your fetus is gone. There's nothing you can do. You already took the pill. You might as well just continue with the process and just get it over with," and just hung up. When I spoke to Debbie from APR, her voice was just full of joy, and I just felt like there was hope when I was talking to her. She just said, "Okay, well, I know this doctor that's close to you, and I want you to go see him." After that, we went and saw the doctor that wrote off the prescription, and he said, "Do you see that little flashing thing on the screen?" And we're like, "Yeah." He goes, "That's the baby's heartbeat." And we were just like, wow. Like, after taking that pill where they said there's no going back, to see his heart beating on the screen, that was just overwhelming, and it was joyful just to know that he's here now.
So obviously you are having a really great effect on a lot of people. Do you have a sense of how many mothers at this point have been able to reverse RU486 like the woman on the video?
Altogether, our number right now we've been able to save over 300 babies. So over 200 women have given birth, and we have over 100 women who are currently pregnant receiving progesterone to reverse the effects of mifepristone.
Oh, and this has only been going on for a few years, right?
Yeah, so our first case that Dr. Delgado experienced was in 2008 to 2009, and after that he knew that this is probably something that is wanted by more than just one woman,
right,
and started the hotline and the website in 2012. So we've been receiving calls since then. But unknown to Dr. Delgado, the first recorded case of reversal was actually in 2006 by Dr. Matt Harrison in North Carolina. Both Dr. Harrison and Dr. Delgado had experience with progesterone, and so they had the same thought of perhaps progesterone would be effective in trying to reverse the effects of mifepristone. And Dr. Matt Harrison has since become the Associate Medical Director of Abortion Pill Reversal, so we work very closely with him as well.
Wow. Okay, so when we're on campus talking to pro-choice people, there are certain common themes that we hear a lot. And as far as like what are the kinds of concerns that are going on for people who are pro-choice, for people who are considering abortion, and financial difficulties is a really, really common one. There are a lot of people that choose abortion that say that financial difficulties were at least a significant part of their decision-making process. And so obviously, if a woman takes RE46 or takes the first part of RE46 primarily or significantly because of financial difficulties, and then she changes her mind, she works with you guys, you reverse everything, obviously that doesn't it's not like this magical wand, the financial difficulties go away. And so let me ask you, how much would the reversal cost?
So costs of the treatment vary depending on the progesterone that's used, and there are actually some insurance plans that can cover the treatment, but women who do not have insurance or financial means to pay for treatment, we encourage them to discuss this with their medical provider. And in cases of financial hardship, abortion pill reversal, we are dedicated to helping underwrite the cost of progesterone. So if a woman can't afford the progesterone treatment, our program is committed to offer financial assistance for her to be able to receive that. And we also encourage to take it a step further, encourage these women to find a pregnancy resource center that's close to them, because these centers are equipped to help them with, whether that's material assistance or resources to help them get on their feet. That's what these women need.
Okay, so this is really important. Like, once again, the reason I'm having Sara on is I want pro-life people to know a set of things, a certain set of facts. And I think, like, if this ends up being you that needs to end up talking to your friend about this possibility, I think knowing that, adding that she shouldn't let money get it, be the decision-making factor here. Don't let money get in the way of saving this baby's life is going to be something that's really important for people to be able to talk to their friends about. Can you tell me anything about success rates? What is it? I imagine this doesn't work every single time.
Sure, yeah. So our success rate is at this time approximately 53 to 55%. So this means that 53 to 55% of women who choose reversal continue the pregnancies and deliver their babies. And I was talking with Dr. Delgado this morning, and we're currently in the process of reviewing our data. So basically, every woman that's called our hotline since 2012, we've been acquiring information about her progesterone protocol and her pregnancy, her delivery. We're learning more and more as we go. And so this is currently being analyzed. And what we've been finding is that there are some subgroups of women who have had success rates as high as 70%.
Wow.
So we are really looking forward to completing our data analysis and submitting our research for peer-reviewed publication in the very near future. So we've been working on this for over a year now. We look forward to submitting that.
If you end up with updated numbers, please let me know, and I can always add those.
Don't you worry.
Good. Okay, so assuming that the reversal is successful, what effects will the first RE46 pill have on the baby? I'm sure this is a question that you have a lot of moms ask.
Absolutely, yes. So the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, or ACOG, in its practice bulletin in March 2014, it states that no evidence exists to date of a teratogenic effect of mifepristone. In other words, it does not appear that mifepristone RE486 causes birth defects. So we're not really concerned about a birth defect happening because of mifepristone and reversing that effect. And also, I should note that progesterone has been safely used in pregnancy for over 40 years. There's no record of birth defects caused by progesterone. So the type of progesterone used for treatment is the same as the progesterone made in a woman's body naturally. And it's sometimes called natural or bioidentical progesterone. So neither the mifepristone nor the progesterone we aren't concerned with birth defects because of either of these.
Fascinating. All right. So now that we've talked about what you do and kind of how this works, let's talk about pushback, because I imagine that you have gotten pushback from some pro-choice organizations. Is that true?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, what kind of pushback have you? Because it seems a little odd to me. I'm a big common ground guy. I like helping pro-life people. Like, let's find common ground. It seems like there's even like some incremental pro-life laws. It's like the kind of thing that like, okay, most reasonable pro-choice people and reasonable pro-life people can agree on this. And it seems like if like it would be weird to me, but maybe I'm oversimplifying it, but it seems weird for a pro-choice person to be against abortion pill reversal if we're pro-choice, then and if a mother who chooses abortion then changed her mind and actually could reverse it, if she wanted the reversal to happen, why would you be against that? So I'm interested in what kind of pushback you have received.
Yeah, so I think the pushback we've been receiving, I suspect it's because we're getting pushback from pro-choice organizations that don't agree with us ideologically. So of course, we're offering women a second chance or that second choice to be able to try to reverse the effects of the abortion pill. And certainly some pro-choice advocates will agree, this is true choice. They're able to change their mind. That's a good thing. But again, I think there's some organizations out there that ideologically their agenda isn't necessarily choice, it's abortion. And some of these organizations, I think they have trouble imagining that a woman may want to change her mind after an abortion or that she might regret her abortion. So I suspect that the pushback we're getting are from organizations that have, that agenda or that ideology attached to what they're doing, and that's where we're seeing the most pushback. That's what I suspect personally.
Okay, so the theory of why you're getting the pushback makes a lot of sense to me. This still seems really weird. So can you go into more detail? Like what does it sound like when you get pushback? What do they say about APR?
We're getting a lot of responses that we're junk science, that we're doing things that are out of the norm. And one of my favorite things that Dr. Delgado said a few interviews ago was that I wouldn't call us junk science, we're new science. We're learning as we go. We're brand new. It's never been done before. And so, of course, we're learning more every day about the use of progesterone to attempt mifepristone reversal. So, again, I don't think that we can be necessarily called junk science, but new science, and that we're learning as we go. It's never been done before. And again, there's just a lot to learn. This is a new attempt, a new horizon, and we're excited to be a part of it.
And how can we not all be excited about that? I don't understand. Everyone who's watching like these interesting like everyone who likes Neil deGrasse Tyson, like why would you not be excited about new science and more choices? I don't understand. Okay.
I agree. I'm with you. Don't worry.
I don't get it. And that bothers me because I really like to understand pro-choice people. And so I wonder if this is just like, if you only hear pushback from like so usually we use the term pro-choice when we talk about pro-choice people, because most of the people we talk to, that's a more, I think, accurate term for them. They're pro the choice for abortion. But obviously, and we've said this before publicly, there obviously are some people who are pro-abortion. It's just I think a very small percentage. But then you've got, there was an abortionist, I think, in Southern California who like one time said he would do free abortions for women coming from Mexico. Like, okay, that guy's pro-abortion, right? Yeah. So I wonder if you're getting this from like people who work at Planned Parenthood or work at NARAL or something like this. Like, I want to know what pro-choice college students think about this, or like just like normal grassroots pro-choice people. If you have an argument against APR, I really want to hear it. I want to understand where you might be coming from. So I was reading the statement from the American Association of Pro-Life OBGYNs on your on your website. It was like this 2,500 member organization. I think it's huge. And so they have a statement in support of the APR process on your website. And so as I was kind of reading between the lines of that, I was starting to see, here's maybe a few of the different attacks that have been levied against you, and I want you to have a chance to respond. So one of them appears to be the criticism that progesterone reversal of mifepristone is an off-label use of an FDA-approved drug. And so they're saying, like, you're encouraging people to do this off-label use of this drug. So what would your response be to that?
So they would be correct. Progesterone reversal of mifepristone is an off-label use of an FDA-approved drug. But off-label use of FDA-approved drugs is legal and widely prevalent in the U.S. And in fact, the most common abortion pill protocols use non-FDA-approved doses and non-FDA-approved protocols for pregnancies beyond the approved 7 weeks. And again, I had already said that it's being used up to 10 weeks of pregnancy. So if you ask me, it's hypocritical for abortion advocates to criticize off-label use of pharmaceuticals when, in fact, they are widely engaging in this practice themselves.
Okay, one more question. So if I'm reading between the lines correctly, it's also been claimed that using progesterone this way doesn't actually save any lives. You have this, 55% number, or maybe even up to 70%, several hundred lives saved. But they're saying that those lives, you haven't saved those lives because those were babies who weren't actually killed by mifepristone. And this happens all the time. You've got women who they choose a chemical abortion and they take that, but then when they come back for the ultrasound later, like it turns out she's still pregnant. And so then they follow up with a surgical abortion, like a DNC or something like that. And so they're saying like, here, you're like taking credit for all these babies that weren't killed by RE46 anyway. What would your response be to that?
That's a great question. And the response to that is that research studies have demonstrated that the use of mifepristone alone allows for a 7% to, at the very most, 40% initial survival of the mifepristone poisoning. So basically, if mifepristone didn't work and she'd have to go back and, either reabort or do it again. So 7% to the very most 40%. And that also depends on the gestational age or how far along the woman is in her pregnancy. We found that if a woman is farther along, the baby is more resilient. And so that also plays into that.
Interesting.
And our reversal process has thus far demonstrated better survival rates from this. So again, low rates being 53 to 55%, but again, for some subgroups, as far as 70%. So this is much more than the 7 to 40% failure rate for mifepristone alone. And although some babies will survive mifepristone without additional progesterone support, it is scientific common sense to supply the hormone being blocked in order to increase the survival rate of fetuses or babies for women who have changed their mind. And we believe that there's ample evidence that progesterone markedly improves survival.
It seems like you could also add, like, if a woman who takes RE46 and it's not successful, and she goes back to, let's say, Planned Parenthood or Family Planning Associates, it's not hard to imagine what is going to be recommended for her. Whereas even if she's rethinking this, I mean, just the fact that you have had arguably pro-abortion people saying, no, there are no women that would like actually rethink this. Like they're not going to be, I would think, very encouraging of a woman who goes back and says, you know what, it didn't work, but I'm glad it didn't work. I changed my mind 5 hours after I took the first pill. What can you do for me? Whereas if they get in touch with one of your counselors, obviously she's going to be very encouraged to see a doctor and go through this process. And so arguing that like abortion pill reversal has saved 0 lives just seems very strange to me. So
I agree.
Sara Littlefield is the executive director of Abortion Pill Reversal. You can check out their website at abortionpillreversal.com. And if you know someone who has taken RE46, please make sure they know about APR's hotline. It's 1-877-558-0333. I'll say that again. Area code 877-558-0333. I think basically every pro-life person should have that on like a business card. You guys should make business cards that people should print out or something like that. Like everyone, like
we do. And if you email me at apreversal, as in abortion pill reversal, apreversal@gmail.com, I will send you printable links and also links to where you can order those online as well.
Okay, every Students for Life Club leader that's listening to this, pay attention. That is a great thing to have on your booths. You should always have it with you. Like we've always said, like if you're walking around a campus, even if you're not doing an outreach, you should have like some information on you. You should at least have the local, like the Pregnancy Resource Center brochure, like have it on you. You don't know what's going to happen. This is one of those things you should always have on you. Sara, thanks so much for coming on the podcast. I think every pro-life advocate should know about abortion pill reversal.
Well, thank you for helping to spread the word. We could not do this work without you.
Okay, and that will do it for our show today. I want to hear from you now. I posted a new thread on the forum on the Equip for Life course in the podcast section, asking if there are other people that you would like us to bring on this podcast. Again, I don't want to just bring on people to talk about how great their organization is. That's fine for other podcasts. That's not what I want for this. I want this to be only about things that are really practically helpful for you. So if you're a pro-life advocate who is trying to figure out how to do dialogue well, I'm interested in in hearing from you. Who are some pro-life people that you think that we could bring on the show and talk to them about their area of expertise, and it would be practically helpful for you? I want to hear your thoughts on that in the forum, and we will get as many of those people as we can on the show in the future. That's our show. Have a great week.